Getting some elevations here for my 15 kW solar project. Starting on a hill with about 10-degree slope, so it's a good place to start. It's also on a hill next to my meter, which will make it easy for connection. Moving on, the next step was to go through here and get rid of some of the topsoil and the grass. So, luckily my buddy has a tractor. It's a nice little video of me working my way through here, getting rid of the turf, and eventually put some fabric and stone underneath so we don't do any lawn work. Like I said before, the section is on about 10-degree slope, and the section overall is in 32 panels. It's about 22 by 40-some foot section. 18 kilowatts DC, 15 kilowatts AC. So this is the fun part of the project, of scooping the facade and taking it to the back of the building. And showing me taking it back here on the yard, a couple 100-foot back. I made a specific pile for that. Here's some calculations I made. Originally, I wanted to do a 27-degree pitch, but as I started looking at some of the slopes, it was going to be very tall in the back. So we eventually went with 20 degrees, but we had a good layout of where the posts were going to be and the 2x6s. There's some of the calculations. You see the just over 41 foot long for where the panels are going to be. So it's going to be another 12 foot above ground. Hence why we pushed it down to 20 degrees. This is a 17 degrees above slope, so that would have been 27 degrees, but like I said, we only went to 20 degrees. Doing some measurements here, making sure I have the dirt cleared out here for about 41 feet, a little bit beyond where the panels were, and also the 22 foot wide. So, had everything all cleaned up, ready to go. Got Big Blue here, my old truck, bunch of wet lumber, bunch of Sakrete. Really had this old girl weighed down. About $850 of lumber here, what it took to build the project. So got some marks where we're going to end up putting a post hole digger. Think if there's a post hole digger is a little tough to use. There it is over there. So next step, we're setting a post. This is when I was still thinking about going 27 degrees, but I was really nervous about trying to go that high, getting 60-some pound panels up there. So here we go. We have all the posts in with concrete. They're all formed up together. Just waiting for the concrete to dry. Next day, concrete's dry. There's the forms together. Now we'll start working to put some 2x6s here between each set of posts. So there's a 2x6 between the post. 2 for each row of solar panels here. Got my 4 colors of wire. Got red, green, black, and white. Run them through an 1.5-inch conduit. See all the nice shale in my yard. So there it was. It's a little rough pulling, but pulled it up there to the house. This is where my inverter is going to go. It's going to be actually protected by some panels right above it, and it's also going to be north facing, so I'm not going to wash out the screen with sunlight. See, I got some of the fabric down here at the bottom where I could still throw stones through before the panels came. The upper parts, I'll finish the fabric later and just push the stones downhill. Got the conduits roughly filled in. Ready to go. Got my negatives. My negatives run from the bottom up. So each of these wires is 50 feet. I wish I had 55 or 60 feet, but we made it work. So they're all going to run down there. It's about where the inverter will be. Here's the connectors, and here's the tool for the connectors. Here in the next step, I try to do my best to show you how to make these connectors. They're pretty easy. So this one is the quote-unquote positive connector, and then there's also the negative connector. So I'm trying to show you how to make one of these. You strip the wire back, I don't know, about an inch or so, maybe a little bit less than an inch. And then there is, as I lovely do this with one hand, you have these connectors. You put it in there, but first, before you put it in there, you actually have to crimp a metal end on here. So you crimp this metal end. I used the 4mm the first time, and it was really tight. I probably should have used the 6. I about killed myself trying to put it on, but I did get it on. Had a pretty nice crimp. Sorry, I couldn't. There we go. Focused right in there. And then I continue to try to do this with one hand, and I do get the connector on there. So that is the one type of connector. And then there's another connector that's a quote-unquote negative connector that is similar but different. It's a female style connector. We'll see here in a little bit. So we got most of the framing done, and then we finally had some rainy days, and then we got working. This is our first panel. Had some Z brackets at the bottom. Had to build them up just a little bit, and then from there we had Z brackets on the bottom, and here was all we needed. So there's these middle brackets, and there's a bolt in them, and they connect both panels together. And there you have it. You have 3 rows of 11 panels. These are half cuts, so they look like they're 6, but there's 3 rows of 11 going uphill, and that was the final product. Here's a Sol-Ark inverter. PP only has so many different types of inverters that they allow. The Sol-Ark seemed pretty easy. In the middle, there's 3 MPPTs for your DC. And then I have, over on the right, the grid connection. So I'm going to finish this video in the dark because I want to finish it and upload it before I forget about it. So here's the last steps, and I want to talk about some things I learned. So here I ended up running up 1.5 inch conduit next to the house. The original plan was to run right here 1 inch liquid tight, but it was extremely difficult to get the 1 inch liquid tight over. So I ended up doing 1.5 inch 90, but it ended up making this a little difficult, and I had to put this in. So it would have been nice if I could have either cut the conduit here or did something that's a little shorter, but I didn't think about it. So next time the conduit shorter, I'll do the loop, but I didn't know exactly what I was getting for this meter collar. So I connected via meter collar. So what it does is, there's the collar behind there. You connect, and then there's actually a DC breaker underneath. I could open it up and show you. There's a DC breaker underneath, and then there's some wiring up top. So that's where it went. So the wiring's up top. It was tight, don't get me wrong. But made it. We're good. So this is a very efficient solution, being that I don't have to go inside the house, which is very nice. Like I said, in retrospect, I would have had the conduit a little bit lower, but you live, you learn. It works. I'm happy. Come down here. Like I said, it's dark. So the Sol-Ark is in service. Let me turn the light off for a second so you can see. There's some lights here. They have the little Ethernet dongle, goes to DB9, which I don't understand. But that's connected. It's on. These are labels I put on. The DC disconnects. And then we have DC is blue because it's nighttime, but AC and normal are on. Let's see if let's see what this may have. Solar today. I guess it thinks it's a new day. It is 3.2. The Sol-Ark was a little odd because it thought, it's still thinking of charging a battery, which I don't quite understand because there's no battery in here. But I was told I had to turn on the battery. So turn it on. The battery may be discharging now. But it looks like the grid's positive. So it looks like the grid's feeding this. So I don't know what's going on. One of the bugs I had here. But we'll see tomorrow if it clears up, since it's only been, a couple hours. So yeah, I guess I would say, as I'm just walking around here, some of the things I would do differently. So this ended up being very efficient. Like you saw, it's 3 rows of 11. It's about the max I can put my MPPT. But I had to settle for about 20 degrees because I didn't want to go any higher than this. This is about 8 foot in the air. And 27 degrees and about 13 foot in the air back there. Just nothing I want to deal with. If I was to build it again, I think I would have built more of a Z pattern. I would have had 3 rows going the other way, maybe more. But the issue ended up being that I didn't want to cut down this tree yet. Even though this apple tree is dying, I did not want to cut it down yet. So my plan of having 3 rows would have brought the rows out to about the tree. So it would have came from about here, and then there would have been would have been like row 1, row 2, row 3. And I would have mowed between them as well. I like this one nice big setup. There's a place in the yard I didn't use anyway. It's just a hill between, like I said, my house and my pole building down there. So there's that. There's also some other inverters that PPL now allows. They're cheaper, which I'd probably do instead of the Solark. But the Solark is a good inverter, but for $7,000, I'm not exactly sure if it's like $7,000 great. So feel free to reach out with me, comments and questions. I know some of the parts with the wiring and even the construction, I didn't do the best job of recording because I did have both hands full. But that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed the video.